And we're back with episode 44 of Dog Football Weekly. It's your host, Reed, with your co-host,
Russ.
and Russ. Kind of 2-for-1 episode tonight. Been going for a while, so really trying to pump out some content here. Really, one question that I really have for you is, who is your title favorite? Who is your title team in 2024?
So, obviously, you've got Georgia, Bama, Ohio State, and you could throw in, maybe like a Michigan or maybe even a Texas, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I think Texas has a good football program. You know me, I'm a Georgia fan.
No doubt.
I'm going to pick Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have the best program right now. I think that no matter what, Kirby Smart's not going away. I mean, he's going to keep recruiting, and he's going to keep bringing in guys that are going to play to the best of their potential. And Georgia's going to be in it every year, probably. I mean, I don't see a year where they don't make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Even this year with the schedule they have. And I really just think if Georgia can beat Alabama in the regular season, I think that Georgia team has a real shot at winning it all.
No doubt. I'm looking at rosters and looking at schedules and looking at kind of how this whole 12-team thing will shake out. It's the first year, obviously. Listen, Ohio State this year, and I still think Georgia's the absolute 110% favorite and most likely team to win. I think they know how to do it now. I think Kirby has a definite advantage over any team in the country right now, and that he has the experience. He has the playoff experience that no other coach really has out there besides Dabo, and we know Clemson's not going to be anything to worry about. But Ohio State's got a sweet roster. They went out and got some guys. They're getting restless up there in Columbus. Urban Meyer brought them a title in 2014. And since then, it's been like great team, no title. Great team, no title. Undoubtedly some of the best talent in the country to not produce a title. And you can say what you want about other coaches like Ed Ogeron, guys like that. I mean, Ed Ogeron, is he a great football coach? Absolutely not. He's no historic all-time great coach at the collegiate level. But when he was given a buttload of talent, he produced. I mean, they won a title. Now, do I think just about anybody could coach that team? Sure. But still, he won it. He won the title. He was the coach. So I'm sitting here thinking to myself, well, when are they going to break through? I don't know. If Ryan Day doesn't win a title this year, they're never going to win a national title there with him as the head coach. There's no excuse this year, even though Georgia's going to have a great team. If you have, the best roster in the country, undoubtedly. Now, they may not all fit together come season time, but talent-wise, superstars, role players, offensive line, defensive line, quarterback, that's still undecided, but you got a great room of really talented guys. You got your receivers back. You got probably the best defensive player in the country in Caleb Downs, who you just went and gave him who knows how much money to come back and play in that secondary. I don't know. If it's not this year, it's not going to be any year, Russ.
And that may jeopardize Ryan Day's future with the Buckeyes.
Yeah.
If he can't get it done, why stick with him? You've got all this talent coming through. And, if he's not getting the job done, somebody else will.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. Ryan Day, to me, people have said that, it took Kirby years and years and years, to break through. And it did. It took Kirby some time. Kirby had to learn. Kirby had to lose some heartbreaking football games. Kirby lost a title on the last play of the game. He lost an SEC championship after some boneheaded coaching mistakes. He got beaten into the ground by an LSU team that's generational. and but he's always there. They're always kind of about to reach the peak, and then they just all came tumbling down until they did. But Russ, one thing that I would like to notice that after these games where Georgia lost a heartbreaking game, like let's go back to early 2018 national championship game. You lose on the last play of the game. Some controversial calls in that game, like the blocked punt. You remember that? You remember that in that game that got called back? You there?
I don't completely remember that.
There was a blocked punt in that national title game. I mean, we're going up on 7 years ago. I don't blame you. I don't really know how I remember this moment, but there was a blocked punt late in the ball game, got called back. I forget who blocked that punt. It wasn't Malcolm Parrish. It might have been I don't know who it was that blocked. Somebody blocked the punt. All right. Clearly he was on sides after video replay, but the play was never challenged.
Oh, yeah, I remember this play now.
Okay, listen, That's a game-changing play, maybe a title-winning play. But we never saw Kirby after that game get on the mic and say, oh, well, if this happened or that happened, we'd be national champions. Kirby Smart tipped his cap. Kirby Smart said, they beat us. Kirby Smart accepted his defeat and said, didn't make an excuse, didn't say, well, we're young or he said, we'll be back. We'll be back. Well, let's go back to Ryan Day. Similar situation. 2023, New Year's Eve 2022 over 2023. Controversial call. Not for us Georgia fans who have some sort of sense and know what actual targeting is, but Ryan Day made excuses after excuse after excuse after that game. Ryan Day didn't accept his defeat. He didn't accept the fact that they missed a kick. He didn't accept none of that. He didn't accept the fact that they let Georgia drive the football down their freaking throat that whole fourth quarter. He didn't accept the fact that they just wanted it more. I mean, you can't tell me that Ohio State team in that second half wanted that football game more than that Georgia team. That Georgia team, you remember Brock Bowers stretching across for that fourth down? I mean, plays like that. I mean, stuff where it's just like it's not a talent thing. You didn't get out talented. You didn't get out anything except worked and hustled, and they worked. I mean, they just worked you off the field, and it's something where it's a maturity thing. I think. Not to saying that a 40-something-year-old man isn't a mature person. I'm just saying that he's still growing as a coach. But I do think that he inherited people who compare him to Kirby. I think it's time to slow down a little bit because Kirby Smart walked into a kind of a mid, kind of just middle-of-the-pack team that he's taken to a powerhouse. Ryan Day inherited an Urban Meyer football program. And it's hard to forget that Urban Meyer is one of the greatest college coaches ever. But, I'm just sitting here like, I don't know. I feel like they have to this year. You feel me?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, it's just – I feel like, Kirby, he just cares a little more than everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
He's fighting for his dudes. He's showing up every day. And he's not making excuses. He's taking what he's got and he's running with it,
Yep.
I just think that's something special.
I think that the program that's been built is one that's going to last. It's a machine. They're putting out guys. Guys want to be there. They're landing kids left and right to come in. It's amazing to see this team and just the growth and seeing guys stay, seeing guys like Carson Beck sit for all that time just to come in and, light up the show. Heisman favorite, number one pick favorite, a guy that people were really high on next year. Even though they say it's a weak quarterback class, which I'm like, it feels like we say that every year. It feels like we always talk about next year's guys every year. But I'm impressed. I'm excited, and I'm anxious to see this team. I feel like there's a hunger with this team. We saw the New Year's Day beatdown or Eve beat. I forget what day it was where they just kicked Florida State's teeth in. We saw it, and I'm excited to see them do things like that the rest of – I mean, I feel like that's a tone setter for this team.
Yeah, I mean, Georgia's, their spring game was kind of iffy, and Carson Beck was kind of iffy.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, nobody trusted him last year. And what did he do? He proved everybody wrong.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to do the same thing this year. He's going to perform like we all saw him perform last year, and probably better.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, a guy like that who sticks around and sits, that's what Kirby wants on the team. He wants somebody who's going to sit around for 2, maybe 3 years and get to play to their best potential that last 1 or 2 years. And he wants them to be the best they can. Mm-hmm. But he wants dudes who aren't just there to play as freshmen and play as sophomores. And, I mean, granted, there are some people that probably do that.
Mm-hmm.
But those are rare people.
Mm-hmm.
Kirby wants guys who are bought into the program, not themselves.
Yep. You couldn't have said it better. And there's a we over me culture. We talk about it a lot on this program, but I just feel like this team's going to be different this year. I don't feel I know it. One more thing before we go. We've talked a little bit about title favorites. Was scrolling through Twitter today, but saw this tweet from Josh Pate. You know, he runs some radio show with 247 Sports. Really good commentator and analyst. Really entertaining. He put up a Twitter poll today about Stetson Bennett, is his resume Hall of Fame worthy? And 47% of people voted no. Russ, what do you? Now, obviously, he cannot be elected into the College Football Hall of Fame because he was never an All-American. But we're talking about resume here, not about if he was an All-American or not. But Russ, what do you think about that?
I think, Stetson. I think his story and how he got to where he is makes him a Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
There's people who were better than him.
Yep.
But the thing is, they were better than him, but they didn't accomplish what he accomplished.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's walking a thin line, but that dude went through so much and came on a D1 football team twice trying to get a spot. And just like I said, Kirby bought into him. He waited his turn, Yep. And I don't know. I don't know. I think he's Hall of Fame worthy.
Yeah. This is what I thought about it, and Josh Pate had the same take. This is a guy, story-wise, let's think about this, walks onto the team. On the team by the skin, just barely on the team. Kirby Smart basically pushes him out the door to go to Mississippi to play junior college ball, basically saying, hey, man, you're not good enough to make it here. Go out here and show what you can do, and then go find some FCS or mid-major team to come back into and play on and get to play on. But, this is a guy that did not quit. He did not quit. No, he's not 6'5" with the best arm we've ever seen. He's not Trevor Lawrence as a prospect. He's not Caleb Williams. He doesn't wow you with any physical trait, probably besides his mobility, but he had the mental intangibles that are irreplaceable. And here's what everybody kept saying. They kept saying, anybody could have won on that 2021 and 2022 team. Those teams were loaded. Georgia's had a loaded roster every single year since Kirby got there, besides his first season. If anybody could have done it, why didn't Jake Fromm do it? Why didn't Carson Beck do it this past year? Why didn't these guys do it? Why aren't they winning a title every year? Because every year the rosters are loaded, and every year Alabama still has a good team, Ohio State has a good team, Michigan has a good team. All these teams that they've had to go through, LSU, they've all had good teams. These teams haven't just been bad, and Georgia hasn't had to play anybody. Georgia went through the best of the best both years with Stetson Bennett. They went through Alabama. They went through the Leviathan, the monster, and they turned around and went through Ohio State the next year. Listen, the notion that anybody could have done it just doesn't fit. If anybody could have done it, Georgia would have. Let's think about it. Jake Fromm started for 3 years. After that was that COVID season where it was just miserable football to watch. You didn't even know what was going on. JT Daniels started some games. Remember that. And then Carson this past year after Stetson's 2. But you would have had more guys do it.
Yeah, I know. I don't think anybody can do what he did at Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a special dude. And I know he's not all grand and great now in the NFL and whatever, but he did the Georgia community, the Georgia culture, everything flipped after he won.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, it was a culture shift. And, I mean, this is a walk-on we're talking about.
Yep.
Changed the whole Georgia culture.
Yep.
That's to me that's Hall of Fame worthy. I don't think you can even debate that.
He's the epitome of college football. He is the reason. You don't do that. I mean, he's the epitome of college football as what it's supposed to be about at the end of the day. It's not about NIL money. It's not about talent. It's about an opportunity. I'm never been so. I'm just kind of in shock almost because what really happened over these past couple seasons was that it almost was like people were just kind of like, oh, whatever, discrediting it. And here's what Josh Pate said. This is live today. He said, if they're so loaded, name some guys on that team. Obviously, Russ, we can name plenty of guys and go down the list. But, the average college football fans that, just watch Georgia's big games and didn't watch every single game like us, they're going to name Nakobe Dean, George Pickens, Brock Bowers, guys of that nature, but they're going to run out pretty quick. Russ, we can do that with any of these other teams. These teams were not any different. Stetson Bennett was the difference maker on these teams. And sure,
no doubt.
Sure, having the greatest tight end of all time at the collegiate level helps a whole heck of a lot. But you got to have the quarterback, man. You got to have the quarterback. And his kind of mental intangibles are something that, you can't really replicate. You can't really replace. But I think Carson's going to do it in his own way this upcoming year.
Well, I mean, Stetson was a dude who he had swagger. He wasn't going to let anybody tell him what he was going to do. I mean, take, for instance, that Tennessee game. Mm-hmm. They were calling his phone all night. He scores that touchdown, puts the phone up to his ear, tell everybody what it's about. That's who he was. He competed, and he was a fighter,
Mm-hmm. And you can't ask for – I don't know. He'll never be in the College Football Hall of Fame because of these stupid rules created by whatever committee set those standards. But it doesn't matter. It's not about who. It's about who deserves it. He deserves it. His story. He's a guy who, to me, in my mind, yes, Baker Mayfield has the Heisman, but Stetson Bennett has the legacy that's going to be remembered. People aren't going to remember that Baker Mayfield was a good player, but Stetson Bennett's going to be immortalized at Georgia for the rest of his life, till after he passes, as the guy who went and got it done. He is the ultimate success story.
Yeah, for sure.
But, we've been going for a while. 2-for-1 episodes tonight, so that's going to be it for today's episode. We hope you all enjoy.